Hello everyone, so it's the end of 25th of August and exact 90 days from now would be the CAT paper, so I have only 90 days to prepare myself with. And to give you a context as to where I currently stand, so I have completed around 80% of my arithmetic basics plus intermediate. I am starting with algebra as I've started from yesterday, so I've trying to hone my skills in algebra. Then I would be moving on to geometry. So to not give you an false idea, I haven't studied uh, for CAT before this. So I gave CAT in 2 years prior to this. One was when I was in my undergrad, so there I scored around 80 percentile, and uh, the next year when I graduated, I then also give the same exam. So there also I scored around 80 percentile, and both these percentile was because I didn't study it at all. So I gave CAT because I have filled the form, and there was no motive for me to give CAT back then. So I didn't study even for one single day. So I went there with no expectation, just to have fun, like. And I know that it's a very expensive exam, so uh, who would do this thing? Eventually people would realize that the exam fees is not that little. So that was a little bit weird for me. But to give you an idea, like when I gave my first CAT exam, it was like month of November 21, I think. I was in my fourth year, I think. So there I didn't have idea that there are 3 sections in CAT, and you cannot change section in between the exam. So I was so clueless, and I was not focused on giving CAT back then because I don't know the reason why I want to give CAT. So the reason or the why was not clear. So I didn't study. I just enjoyed my last year of college, because prior to this 2 years were in COVID and we didn't go to our actual college as a regular student. So all of it was online. So that was one thing that made me enjoy my last part of the college days more, because I know that I have spent 2 years working from home, studying from home, playing just homemade games like Ludo, CS:GO, or Among Us. So these were the things that I did back in COVID, and helping out people to achieve like cylinders, bloods, all those that can I do sitting at home. So connected with different friends of mine, and prioritizing little bit of my health too. So that was one thing that I did. But a void was there that I didn't complete my full 4 years of engineering, and 2 of my precious year went in actually realizing that how college is there. So the first 2 years we came as fresher, we didn't have much idea about college, so we were exploring college. By the time we were in a place that we could do things, the college got shut down. So in the most crucial year, that is the third year, where people usually study, they explore, they do internships, I didn't do anything. So I just uh, played with my friends, spend my days sleeping, exercise a bit, and that's all. So the last year I was uh, my placement was in August, so I secured a placement in August. So that left me with 1 year of complete fourth year for enjoyment, and I did that. But I was not really happy with my initial placement, and there is something like cap in our college. So if you get some placement, then there is a certain cap that is associated with it, and you can sit for the next company only if that company exceeds that cap, like exceed the limit of pay. So I'll not disclose the company name or the pay. I was getting a decent pay, like an average engineering graduate would get, but I was not satisfied, because I think I had more potential, like in terms of monetary things. And in college, I think that was one belief that the more compensation you get in a job, the better job it is. So that's one thing that I thought back then. So I was trying, but I didn't try much. Like I had one placement, so I become complacent that okay, I have placement, and most people are not placed yet. So it was not a bad situation back then as to what the current market situation is right now, but still there were very less companies that were hiring. And because I am from a good college, you can say like a tier 1.5. I don't believe in this tiers, but the companies do, and they prefer campus that they know, or the hiring members or the team that are actually working in that company. If they have a similar background, they would hire from that college. So this is the affinity of like an alumni that is working in some organization. So they would encourage to go to their college, and the placement team also encourages them to like come to college and hire. So that's why you see that every old IITs or like any old institution, it has one thing is that culture, because a lot of previous batches have defined a lot of roles and responsibilities, and the juniors carry forward that. And also because there is a huge alumni base, so everyone who is out from the college, who has spent like 10, 12, 15 years, they are in a decent position in some companies, so they hold critical positions in the company. And if they are in critical position and they want to hire someone, it becomes easier for them to hire from a college that they know. And what a better college than to hire from your own college. So that's what preferred in like corporate. It's changing because now a lot of diverse people are coming to like engineering sector, especially the tech ones. And I being an engineer but not from a technical team, even not from an electronics branch. So my graduation is in biotech, so it's like far from any engineering, because we used to study biostats, everything was related to bio, and the relation with maths was very less. I mean, you can say a few chapters in biostats was related to statistics, and a very few basics like mathematics 1 and mathematics 2 were the classes that happened in the first year itself, and then for the next 3 years there was no maths. So I become like very much afraid of touching maths, because for the past 3-4 years I haven't studied maths at all, like differentiation, integration, what the engineers used to study. So that's one fear that I had. And the company that I worked after my college was a tech company. So there I used, before securing a job, I had to study a lot of maths, like study coding. So from a coding perspective, I know like a decent bit of maths, but like differentiation, integration, differential equations, and Euler's, all those formulas I just forget. Vectors, all those things I don't remember now. So for the past 3 years, 4 years, there's no maths background that I am carrying. The industry that I am working is in tech, which is not related to my actual engineering. And prior to this, like securing admission in my college, which is an SIT, I had to drop 1 year. So if you look at my profile, it's not a very good profile. It's like below average, or you can say close to an average profile, because my 10th, 12th and graduation is 9, 8 and 7. So it's 9, 8, 7, it's constantly decreasing. So I don't have this that I am constantly improving. And to justify, like to give a reason to it, I think it's not justifiable, because there is certain truth that in my college years I didn't work as much as I wanted to. I worked initially in like first 2 years, but the subjects were quite alien to me, like it was all biology, and I have never studied biology like in 10th or 12th. So there was a disconnect between what I am studying and what the college is actually teaching, and they expected everyone to be in that same level, because I think 60% of my class were from bio background, or 50% I would say, and rest 50 were from engineering. So all those who had biology background they felt really easy for them to understand the topics. But for us who are coming from a very different background, like physics, chemistry, maths, not even bio, so it was really difficult for us to score marks. Because in bio, like, the scoring things are very difficult, and teachers' mindset is also different than what it used to have in our normal engineering domains. So to give an idea, like, in bio, drawings contain a lot of information and it becomes a necessary thing. You need to remember scientific name, and that also carry marks. So you need to write answers in very large format with clear handwriting and all those things. And I think the answer writing pattern is also different. So first 2 years it was really difficult for me to understand what the teacher wants. But I tried really hard to score marks. I scored almost 7.4 or 7.2 CGPA back then, and because our teachers were same, so then they realized that this person is going to score only this much CGPA. So that was the predefined criteria for every student in our class. So if somebody scored like a 9 in first 2 semesters, so for the last 3 years they were considered to be a good student who would score a 9 CGPA, and a minor fluctuation according to like some performance would be there. But generally teachers had this idea that okay, this person is a 9-pointer guy, so he is scoring well, he would be taking this domain in his master, so it's better to give them marks rather to give marks to someone who is not going to appear for the masters or things. So that was one thing, and there I lose marks. So I secured a 7.8 overall. I couldn't improve it to 8. If it would be 8, I think that would improve my profile a bit, but nevertheless this is what my profile is. So after completing my college, I worked for 1 year, and it was a technical experience, so that does not contribute to a diversity in like work as well. So overall my profile: general engineering male with 1 year drop, 1 year IT experience. It does not make sense for me to give CAT, because then I only have chance to secure a admit only if I am like top 1000 or 2000 people. Even for a decent MBA college, that would pay me around 18 to 15 lakhs as CTC right out of the college. And when I watched YouTube videos, I got to know the perspective that if I am targeting consulting, my profile should already be good, and I should have always been a topper, a consistent performer. Then only they'll consider me for their profile. They would shortlist me for the interview, and generally all these companies come in the first 4-5 months, like after the admission. So you only have 2-3 months of time to prepare your CV, write down the pointers, verifies those pointer with the seniors, and prepare your CV for these recruiters, and prepare guesstimates, have case studies, all these things in the first 3 months. And if somebody has not done this, then it would be really difficult for them to actually get into the real interview and secure a job. Also, they have this criteria to only shortlist good candidates who have good profiles. So generally the top tier or the cream, you can say, in terms of marks, because the intellectually they are really same, but they have worked a lot in their previous year, so they get the benefit and they get to choose the consulting domain. The rest, like 95% of the crowd who are a level below in terms of scoring, they would have an chance to get internships or placement from financial institute. But finance also, they book the next 5 or 10% people if the companies are coming to their campus. That also comes to an elite campus, so that's one thing. And then comes the jobs that are related to marketing, and marketing is usually no biasing game, so they prefer people who have a critical bent of mind, who are really innovators, who have done things in marketing. So that's a good experience to have. But generally, I think anyone who does not have any clue about what they want to do after MBA, they generally build two profiles, like CV for two profiles, and one profile of them is like marketing, because they do not discriminate much in terms of which student they want to pick, like in terms of percentile and all. So consulting, finance, marketing, then operations are there. Operations team also considered an operation profile. Then sales team are like the most fluent team, and they generally don't have any strict restriction. Only condition is that you pass your exams and you get a degree out of the college, and you have that zeal to do sales. So, and I have seen that all those big companies like Unilever, ITC, they, prior to giving a marketing role or brand manager role, they expose the people to sales, and they will send you to far off areas, remotest location in India's maybe, and they would try to make you analyze what the situation there is, how to increase the output where they are lagging. So you need to spend like 2-3 days doing sales only, and then you can actually become a brand manager and do things, and that becomes a common norm. And it's actually great to have if you want to learn things, but if you want to like have a direct brand manager experience, then it's not what you have. The most you can say easy profile for me to enter is a product management profile, and generally the tech companies hire. So companies where the influx of tech companies are like campuses where the influx of tech companies are more, it would be a good advantage for me. Like all those IITs would be a great benefit for me, because they come for bachelor's hiring, and now they would have been people sitting for MBA, and they would hire for the product management role. So that becomes an easy shot for them to hire, because there are students, there's company coming. So even if the like profile is not that great, but if the company is coming to campus, they would hire at least like 2-3 people, or like 4-5 or 10 maybe if it's a big MNC. So it's a safer shot to play there. If I am targeting finance roles, then there are certain campuses that are good in finance. If I am targeting operations role, then there are good colleges that are in operations. If I am targeting marketing, then good colleges, and MICA is one of them. So all those things. And now, since now NITI is converted to IIM Bombay, so they would be having diversity quota, all those things that would hurt the engineers most, because NITI was earlier considered to be an engineering paradise in terms of like hiring, but now that would change. IIFT is expecting like accepting CAT this year, so another exam where there is chance if you screwed up your CAT, then you have IIFT as an exam. So they would also consider CAT as their score meter. Then Acceleri is one business school which is good, and but there also I need to score like 99.7 or 99.5 at least to get a shortlist, and it's mostly profile based and somewhat like quota is not there, so a lot of category students generally not prefer to apply there. But if they are from like OBC or EWS category, they would apply, because not much of a difference is there in terms of marks, while CAT and that is considered, and they happen like 1 month after CAT. So the exam pattern is more or less similar with certain differences, and it gives 1 month of buffer to those who have screwed CAT to actually give one exam that would eventually lead them to a good college. And Acceleri is a good college because, as I said earlier, it's a very good campus. The alumni base is very large, and they are accepting students from different backgrounds, because they don't have a category criteria because it's a private school. So exercise one thing, snap like symbiosis. I would generally not consider symbiosis because it's not that a brand, and MBA is all about brand. So if you don't get brand, there's no point doing an MBA from India. And recruiter also considered like MBA from a top B school to be really great. At least this is what the current scenario is. Although there are good IIMs that are not brands as such, like IIM Udaipur, but they are generally ranked higher because the placement is good, the location wise it's good, companies are coming. So eventually after 5-10 years, because they have IIM brand as IIM tag, so they would generally grow, like the IITs would grow, IIMs which are relatively older, that like Shillong is one, so it's now considered to be close to an old IIM, but it's not. So these are the colleges that I would be targeting, and to target all those colleges I need to score at least 99.75 or 6 because my profile is not that good, and generally I would not be offered any diversity in terms of gender, work experience, education, and my marks is also not great. So the only criteria that I have with me is CAT, and I have seen like my friend has the selection percentage of different colleges. So I've seen that many colleges are willing to take student who have a good CAT percentile and little bit of weak, you can say, CATs too, but let's see, I'm not considering it unless I score like 99.7. So all these are like a matter that would happen after I score a good percentile in CAT. What's the point that I'm going to tell is there is 89 days left for CAT, and the only thing that I could do is study for 10 hours, 12 hours straight. I would be doing that. Let's accept it as a challenge, and I would be doing it because even if I fail, which I think I will not if I completely execute what I am planning to do, but let's say I fail, I will have an experience of giving CAT, securing a good percentile, so that next year when I'll go, if I'll go, which I think I won't, but you never know, but if I'll go, I would have an experience of scoring. I'll know the pattern, I'll know how the exam condition is there, and once you are preparing now, then only you will understand what the exam is actually demanding. So I do believe that even if I scored like 80 percentile in my 2 attempts without studying, that was my baseline. I was not in a pressure to score more marks. I just went there, solved the paper. I solved with complete dedication because I have like given 2,400 or 300 what odd number form is, but I spent 2,000 rupees in the form, so it's better to like give the exam with your full concentration, at least at that point, which also does not make sense because we don't study, and why did you go there to give exams? But let's consider I did this. So now what I would be doing is, if I am giving CAT, it should be a good CAT attempt. It should not be a CAT attempt that I would think that okay, if I would have studied this much, I would have scored this many marks, I have studied this much, then I should not have that regret in my life that I haven't given CAT with my full full throttle or like beast mode. So from now on, I would be considering it to be the only goal that I have for the next 3 months, keeping aside all those Instagram and phones that I use. I rarely use Instagram, but now I won't be dedicating it more than 4-5 minutes or maybe 0 minutes. I won't be dedicating any time to it. So the only focus would be to give mocks, practice as many questions as I can, analyze the mocks, analyze what the mistakes are, and to give the best in my CAT. To give you an idea where I currently stand, I have given CL mock recently, and my aggregate score in all 3 subjects were 12. I know it's a bad score. I generally score around 30, 40, which is not a good score either. Like I would have scored the same 80 percentile. So I didn't see any improvement. But for the past 1 week, I have been studying on and off, and with like 3-4 hours of dedicated studies, and I am able to score now like 30 to 40% of what I studied. So there is an improvement in terms of solving the questions, and that improvement would generally compound if I do it on a consistent basis. So my focus mainly would be to do things on a consistent basis and with a proper mindset, with a proper target. And I won't set the like a long target for me, but I would set short targets, like daily targets, and if I achieve those daily targets, that means I am on my correct path. If I don't do those things, then it's obviously that I won't score good marks. So I'd be focusing on my daily targets, achieving it as soon as possible. I would be giving my 10 on 10 efficiency. So I am studying 4-5 hours daily, but I want to increase it to like 10 or 12 hours for like last 3 months, and it starts from yesterday, but I'll dedicate it today also. So today I have studied almost 4 or 5 hours. I'll be dedicating few more hours, and would sleep earlier, because sleep schedule is one thing that I need to improve. I need to improve on my health, which is my like first priority. Second priority is CAT. So health is the first, because if you are in a bad state of health, you won't give a good attempt. That's what I consider. Also, I am thinking that since my age is 23, I would soon be turning 24 in January. So before turning 24, I should have something in my pocket. Like I should have a good CAT score, I should have good ZAT score. If I give GMAT, I would have a good GMAT score. And I came to a realization from like my seniors that once you stop studying, then it becomes really hard for you to get back to study and score marks. So for the past 2-3 years, I haven't studied a lot. Like I have studied like the coding part, or generally the stuffs on finance on YouTube and all, but I haven't really structured the study what I used to do in my 11th or 12th grade, which was also not that great, but it was efficient. So like my drop year was more efficient than 11th or 12th grade. So I need to get back to that same level or achieve more, and that I can only do if I am young, when I have the capacity of my brain, when I have the energy to sit for long hours. And I'll try this year. This would be my best attempt, the first attempt that I would be giving seriously. So I don't want it to go waste. I don't want my 2000 rupees to go waste and would turn to a garbage. Like if I am giving exam, I should have some targets, should tick box some targets, should achieve things, and then only I will give exam. So this clarity is there. And even if I score bad, even if I score worse, I don't have a job currently, so that would means that I would be having a lot of pressure after I score really bad marks. But okay, I would have given like 100% of mine, and that would satisfy me that okay, I tried my level best. So that would be one thing that would make me realize that I worked and I got this much percentile. This is what I should be getting, no more, no less. So that would be a great thing to have. So now, yeah, I have talked a lot. So the beast mode would be on from now onwards. So hope you all have a good day. See you tomorrow.